Pelicans take on the Bulls tonight in Chicago, and that's where we find Steve Aschburner from NBA.com. He is very much on brow watch tonight. So we saw pictures earlier. Anthony Davis is in the building. He was warming up. Yeah. He's obviously not going to play tonight. Will he be in uniform? Will he be active, inactive, street clothes? What is his deal?
I would imagine it's up to him. Warm-ups might be a good compromise. He's had plenty of games where he's come back to his hometown and he hasn't been able to play. He's been hurt, sidelined for various reasons. I think he's probably played a minimal number of games here in Chicago. Here's one he's going to sit out while healthy. I haven't checked the schedule to see when any of his destination teams, when they're coming through Chicago over the second part of the season. So, this might be it for AD here in town this season.
Well, the Pelicans are going to know one way or the other if he's traded in the next few hours, at least for this season. What is the prevailing opinion among the Pelicans traveling party about the likelihood of Davis being on the roster after 3 tomorrow?
Well, I've talked to a couple of people in the support staff and on the fringe of things. In other words, not Dell Demps, not owner Gail Benson, and I think if they had to bet, they would bet on the side that a deal will not get done. A little bit of speculation that maybe some mystery team would swoop in and take on AD for what's left of this season and next year in the hopes that it could convince him. But I think, to me the X factor is, do they play him once this deadline passes? Because if they're not going to play him, then he's essentially gone, which then almost makes it seem as if a deal might as well happen unless they are totally convinced that they could put him on a shelf and still get a better deal than what the Lakers could offer. He's not going to raise his value any, but it would be an unusual situation. So there's still a lot of variables to be filled in. I was in the locker room, and players just sort of shrug. Jahlil Okafor told me, selfishly he would love to have AD with him every day for the rest of his playing days. But that could change within a day. So they know. They've been schooled that this is a business. It's what they've chosen, and we all just watch and report.
Ash, we've seen the impact this has had in that Lakers locker room. You talk about the mood or the temperature you take in that Pelicans locker room. What does this do for them going forward the rest of the season and beyond if AD is out of the mix and not moved, if he's just subtracted from that situation?
Yeah, look, if they trade him or if they don't trade him and sit him, it will be really hard for players in that Pelicans locker room to delude themselves that this would be anything except the ramp to a serious rebuild. At that point, other pieces come into play. Guys that won't get traded by the deadline tomorrow, maybe a Mirotic or a Randall, they would have to know that they would be potentially moving in the summertime. Drew Holiday, another valuable player. And, I don't know what the interest level is and whether they want to hang on to him for now. But if you are in a full rebuild come summertime, when you trade Anthony Davis, then Drew Holiday doesn't make a lot of sense either to be sticking around. So it would be a tough way to go. If Anthony Davis is able to play the final 25, 30 games, whatever it is, you kind of delude yourselves. Maybe you can make a push for a playoff run. That's a long shot. But at least, things are normal or seemingly normal for a little bit longer. I would think it'd become a very restless situation if they know he's healthy and management is not using him because they don't want to risk injury. And the other guys, what we're seeing with the Lakers and all that uncertainty, this would be a different version of it, but it would be every bit as dramatic, I think.
Well, Ash, you answered the next question about possibly blowing up the whole team with Holiday. So with all those things you just said, when does that deadline for the Pelicans in their mind say, well, we don't help make a move, we may lose some of the value because we know how good Anthony Davis is, but we know deep down inside he doesn't want to be here?
Yeah, in terms of, him losing value, I don't think that's a concern. I think that anybody who would try to get him now would belly up to the bar with as much or more come summertime. I think it would be an unknown to a degree, although I guess we can fill in the blanks and guess by other players' precedents in terms of if he does get back on the court for the Pelicans, what do the fans do? Do they start to resent the situation already, or do they cling to hope and try to woo him back and try to get a little bit, show him every bit of love that's left in their bones? I don't know. I think the former is probably the modern NBA way, where fans start to say, you don't like it here, we don't like you so much anymore either. So there's another factor to throw into, do you play him, do you not play him?
Yeah, fans don't generally take kindly to that sort of thing when they're told somebody doesn't want to be in their city any longer. Steve Aschburner with us, reading the tea leaves, reading the locker room, and everything else he can discern about the Anthony Davis situation with the Pelicans tonight in Chicago. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you, guys.